Hello guys and welcome back to a brand new video here on the Chapel Talks LFC channel, and today we will be going through my probably too early Premier League predictions. If you do enjoy today, drop a like and subscribe, and let's not waste any time putting Hull in 20th. Not because I necessarily think they'll be atrocious, I just think the rest of the league is so strong to the point where I just think the competition's incredible. I don't have all three promoted teams going back down again, but I've got two. However, I've got Forest 19th. They weren't very good last year. I don't like their manager at all. They've lost their best player, and I think just their squad's a little bit, eh, like Chris Wood, washed, Hudson-Odoi, Young. Who else have they even got? James McAtee, Young, Amari Hutchinson. Never been good. I just don't, unless they invest this Anderson money really, really well, which I can't see them doing. I think it could be a long season. Let me full screen you here. There we go. And I have Ipswich going down. However, I think it'll be very, very close between them and Leeds. I think Leeds shocked a lot of teams, shocked a lot of people even last year. You know, I think they were, 15th, 14th in the end. But they were never really in danger of relegation past that sort of rough period before January. And then they bounced back well. I think they beat Chelsea, drew with Liverpool. Maybe they beat us. I think they drew with us 3-all. Maybe that was the two. I don't know. We drew to them twice, I think. But yeah, I think they'll just have a little bit of a fall off. But I could see those two interchanging quite a lot. That's my bottom three. That's Leeds in there. Next, 16th, I've got, who do I have at 16th? I haven't thought about this much before. I'm between Newcastle, Coventry, and Brentford. But I think Brentford will be better than both of them. So I'm not Brentford. These two will be 15th and 16th, I think. I don't know, Palace could have a little bit of a fall off, I think, especially if they lose Adam Wharton. I'm going to chuck Coventry in 16th, Palace in 15th. Because Palace have lost what? They've lost Glasner. They might lose Adam Wharton. I just don't think their squad's that. Yeremy Pino's not good enough. Brennan Johnson's not been good enough. Mateta, Strand Larson, not had great seasons. Obviously, they won the Conference League, but I don't know. Yes, they won the Conference League, so they'll be juggling Europe as well. So I think they'll just take that little step back. I feel like they came 15th last season, so it's not even like unbelievably worse. Actually, no, it's the exact same. I've got them in 15th again. But yeah, juggling Europe in the league is a lot harder for these less wealthy teams, kind of outside the big six. Villa did it quite well, actually. But yeah, then 14th I'll have Newcastle. I just think all their good players are leaving. I don't rate Eddie Howe. I think he's the most overrated manager in the league. It might be a bit harsh, but he's not at the level most people say he is, I don't think. Yeah, no one wants to sign for them. All their best players are leaving. They've got all this money they can reinvest, and just no one wants to join them. Which brings me to 13th. I think it'll be Bournemouth. Because lost Areola, their squad's still quite good. But I just think again, similar to Palace, juggling Europe and the league teams always tend to take a little step back if they're in a European competition at the same time. I think people underestimate the impact that can have. But yeah, Bournemouth in 13th, and I don't necessarily think it's because they're bad. I just, I don't know, everyone's kind of the same level, I think. If you look at sort of even Leeds, Palace, Coventry, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Fulham, Everton, Sunderland, Brighton, maybe not Brighton, Brentford. They're all kind of similar level. Brentford in Europe as well means I think they'll drop 12th. I think their squad is quite similar to Bournemouth's, in terms of just overall talent. But I think, I don't know, Krupi and Rayan but they might leave. Krupi rumoured with Tottenham, Rayan, chatter of Liverpool, but I doubt it'll happen. I think the only thing that'll separate these two teams is they've still got Keith Andrews, and they need to just hope that who they have in replicate what Areola did. So that's 14th, 13th, 12th. 11th, we'll go with who have I got an 11th? Between Fulham, Everton, Brighton. I think Villa could take a little step back. I don't necessarily think as far as 11th. Lost Morgan Rogers. They're trying to replace him with Garnacho, which is beyond me. Who else? I mean, Boubacar Kamara. They've lost Tielemans as well, though. They'll struggle, especially in the Champions League next year. But they've got all that Rogers money. 40 odds from Tielemans. You'll get Garnacho for cheap because Chelsea don't want him and he don't want to be there. I'll chat. I think Sunderland could quite easily get top half. This is 11th. 11th just screams Fulham or Everton. I back Arbeloa, to be fair. And I'll chuck Everton 11th. I'm actually going to put Brighton in 10th. I think they'll just be very mid. Yeah, very mid. And then I'll have... You know what? I really back Arbeloa. I'm going to put Sunderland in 9th. And bump Fulham to 8th. And then I'm going to have United in 7th. Hold on, let me just ramble through this. Then I'll explain my thought process. Got Arsenal in 5th. Tottenham in 4th. City in 3rd. Chelsea in 2nd. Liverpool in 1st. No bias. A little bit of bias. There's a bit of bias. No, okay, you might look at this and think, what the fuck's he on about? He's an idiot. Let me explain my thought process. I might swap Tottenham and Arsenal, actually. I spoke about the impact of Europe. 1 game a week Chelsea under Xabi Alonso, with the likes of Morgan Rogers, Pellistri, who they've brought in. Cole Palmer hopefully back to his best. I think they'll be a dangerous team, and I genuinely think they could win the league next year. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. City obviously have to adjust to Enzo Maresca, which I think could take, I don't know how long. It's difficult to say with these, because, well, pretty much all of the big 6 have new managers. I guess Man United, Spurs brought them in last season, about halfway through. Then City, Chelsea, Liverpool, all new managers to start the season. But no, I think City could start quite slow under Maresca, but I think they'll pick up some rhythm later on in the season. It'll be similar to the season where they had that little shaky run with Pep. The season we beat them, the season we won the league. Remember we beat them 2-0 twice, and then I know they lost a Champions League game they shouldn't have as well. But yeah, I think they'd lost. I think it was something silly like 11 out of 13 games. That might be wrong. Hold on, let me VAR that. I'm not completely. Oh, they won 1 of 13 games, including a lost to Sporting. The draw to Feyenoord was the one I was on about. I think they were 2-0 up. They might have been 3-0 up. But yeah, I think it could be maybe not quite to that extent, but I just think they'll start a little slow. The reason I've got Arsenal 4th or 5th is similar to Klopp's season. I think the year after we won the league, the one with Ozan Kabak and yeah, the disastrous season. I just don't think that a team stays in the top two for that long. I think you've just got to drop out at some point. If they can get top two again and push for the league again, then I can only applaud them. But I just don't think I think the league's changing from what it was last year in terms of the set pieces and boring play and all that rubbish. And I don't know if they'll be able to adapt to it as well as I think this Tottenham team will, who have recruited spectacularly. I really don't know who I think. I think Arsenal could have quite the fall off. I'll keep him in fourth for now. But yeah, Tottenham have recruited well. I like De Zerbi. I don't really have much else to say about them. If they can get a striker in, then if they get an elite striker, then they could be pushing top three. That might be ridiculous to say for a team who've just come 17th, but I believe in the turnaround. What United came 16th and then third, so it's not impossible. Speaking of United, I don't like Carrot. I watched in the Champions League the Championship from Middlesbrough, where he had a squad 5 times better than the second best squad in the league, and they didn't even get the playoffs. I know they had injuries and such, but I just don't. I don't back him to. I think he was a good interim, but he's not a top class manager, and I don't think he will be. It might be similar to Ole, where they have their good season and then he gets the sack. I wouldn't be surprised if Carrick's gone, maybe February time, when they're sat down here. They bring in someone a little better and they push up there. I like Arbeloa. That's why I have Fulham in 8th. I think it'll be very tight between sort of Everton and Fulham. But yeah, I've got Fulham there just because I like, but I could be completely wrong. The Arbeloa experiment could fail. But I just feel like he's a very Fulham manager. And I like their team. I do. I love Josh King. I think maybe they need one more midfielder. I don't really know the ins and outs of Fulham like that, but that's why I talk about Liverpool, which I will do actually. I kind of just said it was bias and then. But yeah, I like Arbeloa. I've always been a fan of Fulham, and yeah, and then Villa, just more of the same really. But I think these 5 teams, sorry, will be better than them. And now I'll talk about Liverpool. I think that there's obvious bias involved. I can't help it. I can't bring myself to put them anywhere but first. And it's been my prediction for the last, I don't even know, 5 years. More than that, 10 years, last decade. Predicting them to get first every time. I'll do this again when the transfer window closes, or maybe like just before the first game of the season. It'll be interesting to see if Liverpool sign Bradley Barcola, 1, maybe 2 midfielders, and then 2 defenders. It's 5 signings. If we can make 4 or 5 signings, guaranteed we'll walk the league. Maybe we won't walk the league, but I can see us winning it. However, if we don't make those signings, I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, it's going to be a dark year. I could see that happening. That would mean I'd have Chelsea. Do I think Chelsea will win the... I actually do. If Liverpool don't make their signings, I can see that. I can see Chelsea winning the league. And if you do disagree, which I don't doubt that a lot of people will, because there's a lot of Arsenal fans about, and they love to voice their opinion. Just leave it in the comments. I'm happy to debate about any of this. I love it. And who knows, maybe you'll change my mind, but I don't see that happening. I'm quite stubborn. However, I love a debate. Get involved in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one.